The Constitution.
Kenyans barred from seeking menial jobs in the Middle East.
And questions abound as 300 pieces of ivory are seized at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Welcome. KTN Prime starts now. Security officials backed by FBI agents are still investigating the motive of 2 Iranian nationals arrested in the country after shipping a chemical said to be used to make bombs.
And as the investigations continue, sources within the police force have told KTN that the chemical is capable of manufacturing 20 highly explosive bombs. KTN's Dennis Onsarigo reports.
The Iranian nationals being held by anti-terrorism police unit officers were interrogated for the better part of Thursday and Friday as local and foreign police detectives tried to establish their real mission in the country. Highly placed sources in the police force have told KTN local and international detectives are dealing with very high-profile suspects. Their identities have remained a closely guarded affair, with those close to police investigations saying their naming is likely to cause a diplomatic row between 3 countries. It is now emerging that the 2 containers suspected to contain explosive materials were imported by the 2 Iranian nationals. The containers were being tracked by Interpol, who handed over their details to several countries before they docked at the port of Mombasa. The 2 foreigners first arrived in the country on the 12th of June this month from Iran and were arrested on Tuesday in a city hotel. Anti-terrorism police officers and FBI agents tracking the 2 trailed them from the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to a city hotel where they established surveillance on the 2 for the 2 weeks before arresting them. The 2, according to those investigating the mysterious bomb-making chemical substance, and the 2 containers were not picked up from the airport but instead opted to hire a taxi straight to the city hotel. Police detectives have told KTN that the bomb-making material can construct at least 20 powerful explosive devices. Security agencies are still trying to determine the real identities of the 2 Iranian nationals who were arrested with new Iranian passports. With terrorists targeting Kenya, Kenyan security agencies are grappling with an emerging threat of powerful explosives that are now taking over from hand grenades that have claimed more than 20 lives. Dennis Onsarigo, KTN Prime.
The Kenya Wildlife Service and police officers today seized 360 pieces of elephant tusks at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. The officials found the consignment covered in paper and packed in wooden crates disguised as spare parts.
Amid growing concern on the state of wildlife conservation in the country, police today intercepted a haul that adds to the legitimate worry that Kenya might be losing the war against poaching. More than 600 kilograms of ivory consisting of 345 pieces were intercepted. They were en route to Nigeria when police confiscated suspicious cargo at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Police at the airport said the tusks were packed in 6 wooden crates and were disguised as spare parts. Little was forthcoming from officials who didn't know where the tusks originated from. Officials of the Kenya Wildlife Service said in the 5 months from January to May, a total of 133 elephants have been lost to poaching. Statistics further showed 68% of elephants were poached outside protected areas.
We lost 34 elephants in January 2012, 36 elephants in February, 24 elephants in March, 16 in April, and 25 in May.
Nobody had been arrested by late Friday, but police said they will track down the person or persons who delivered them at the airport. In the past 1 week alone, KWS Rangers have recovered 6 rifles, 1 pistol, 109 rounds of ammunition, 3 pieces of elephant tusks weighing 6 kilograms and 52 kilos of game meat. The high incidence of poaching, particularly for ivory in the elephant ranges, is attributed to growing demand for ivory in the international market. The Wildlife Service says going forward, it intends to strengthen law enforcement through force modernization, equipping wildlife rangers with state-of-the-art equipment.
Right now, whatever is captured and impounded at various points is not easy to tell, and blame keep on passing that this is from local elephants or is from elephants from other places. This laboratory will help us overcome that problem.
Since January, 1,179 suspects have been arrested and charged on crimes relating to poaching. 40 rifles and 770 rounds of ammunition have also been recovered, including other crude weapons like poisoned arrows, bows, snares, spears and axes in possession of poachers.
Well, at least 18 people have been killed in cases of human-wildlife conflict since the year began. The Kenya Wildlife Service reports that Chulu, Voi, Lamu and Bura saw the highest numbers of such conflicts, some of which have been attributed to human encroachment on areas that were wildlife corridors. Further, KWS has now said that there shall be no compensation for the residents of Kitengela who lost their livestock in a recent attack, as it only compensates for human injuries and deaths.
On Tuesday night, residents of Olkai village in Kitengela speared and killed 6 lions. The lions had strayed from the national park and into a farm where they mauled dozens of sheep. A day later, a pride of lions would stage another attack, killing more livestock. The human-wildlife conflict is nothing new, manifesting itself every year during the rainy season when the herbivores leave the protected areas in search of pasture. Left with nothing to prey on, the big cats often follow them out of the park, causing conflict. The Nairobi National Park has an area of 117 square kilometers. While its northern, eastern and western sides are fenced off, the southern side has been left open to allow free movement of animals. The swelling human population now poses a problem, blocking the wildlife migratory paths.
10 to 20 years ago, the Kitengela side was very much open. And if you can recall well, we used to have a smaller migration of wildebeest, just like happens in Masai Mara. We had it here, and it was terminating in Nairobi National Park from Amboseli side. That movement of animals stopped in the year 2001 because of settlements and blockage of migratory route.
High conflict areas across the country include Chulu with 139 cases, Voi, Lamu and Bura. Since January, 18 human lives have been lost, while 9 lions have been killed, a situation that now calls for a new approach.
The long term may include, among others, putting up a fence on the southern side. By putting up a fence on the southern side will mean Kenya Wildlife Service will have to engage in intensive wildlife management for this park.
Na hata ikiweko la Sekenge sio suluhisho, kwa sababu jana simba alikuwa Karen, alikuwa anang'ang'ana kutoka Karen.
No arrests have been made following the killing of 6 lions. Instead, the KWS now urging locals with large tracts of land to embrace ecotourism while seeking the cooperation of the local community, encouraging peaceful coexistence between man and wildlife. But as the two sides seek a satisfactory solution, KWS is quick to add that for the pastoralists who lost their livestock in the recent lion attacks in Kitengela, there shall be no compensation.
Compensation for loss of wildlife is not there in the Act, and it is not there. It is not done. It was banned by Parliament in 1977, if I'm not wrong. 87.
Wilkis Tanyabo, KTN Prime.
That story brings us to tonight's big question. We are asking you, do you think KWS is doing enough to contain human-wildlife conflicts?
Please do send us your brief comments to the number 8040, beginning with a yes or no. We will sample some of your views at the end of this live newscast.
The decision by members of parliament to amend the Political Parties Act and allow MPs to jump from one party to another without losing their seats has received criticism from Kenyans and a section of leaders.
Well, the public has expressed dismay at what is now being seen as a conspiracy by politicians to preserve themselves. Sophia Wanuna reports.
The Law Society of Kenya has criticized members of the August House for altering the Political Parties Act 2011, allowing them to hop from one party to another without resigning from their seats.
By this amendment, Parliament is going against what was agreed at the meetings with the Kofi Annan, and this is basically watering down the desire of Kenya, the people of Kenya, in that Parliament wants to take us back to the old days of party indiscipline and of the political class. We shall, of course, have a recourse to the court if the bill becomes law.
The passing of the controversial Political Parties Act 2011 is said to be motivated by the long list of party hoppers seeking self-preservation. Gashokar MP Mutava Musimi, who successfully proposed to amend the Political Parties Act to suspend the clause until after the next elections, was elected on a Party of National Unity (PNU) ticket, but intends to contest for the presidency under the Democratic Party.
It is even more disheartening that the mischief is being perpetuated by a man of the cloth, that is the Honorable Reverend Mutava Musimi. The said amendment to the Political Parties Act is unconstitutional and is undertaken in clear disregard to the constitutional principle of separation of powers.
According to the Constitution overwhelmingly passed by Kenyans and was promulgated 2 years ago, it was the wish of the Kenyan people that politicians, on renouncing or resigning from the parties that saw them elected to Parliament, lose their seats. The changes made by the lawmakers Wednesday night essentially gave a lifeline to the members of Parliament who failed to clinch a nomination ticket from their parties, allowing them to jump ship to a party that will support their bid.
How do we allow a law which allows a member of Parliament to belong to more than 4 political parties? Kama wewe mtu wa kawaida ukipatikana umekuwa kwa vyama mbili, kuna hiyo penalty.
So our appeal is that Parliament looks at itself, that Parliament takes its legislative work very seriously, and that Parliament does its legislative work as directed and guided by the Constitution and the will of the people of Kenya.
Kenyans on Twitter using the hashtag Occupy Parliament expressed their dissatisfaction with their leaders. Public outcry over relaxing of the academic qualifications for those vying for political seats saw the MPs do a U-turn the day after. It is clear that Kenyans are committed to ensure that they are not shortchanged. For KTN Prime, I'm Sophia Wanuna.
And joining us now with more is KTN's Ann Soy Mondia.
Indeed, welcome, Ann. What we have seen here is MPs passed some laws and then they had to revert.
That's right. It's the power of Kenyans now. Now they have a voice.
And what are some of these laws that...
Well, just a recap of some of the clauses that drew a lot of contention and had to take MPs back to the House where they had to change their positions. One is the clause on party hopping. Dozens of MPs face court cases over defections, yet they still retain their parliamentary seats. These MPs moved to protect themselves until the upcoming general election by allowing last-minute defections. Now, initially, the law intended at instilling discipline in political parties. Now, one of the clauses that was also quite controversial was presidential losers. Well, on Wednesday night, MPs voted to allow presidential candidates to also vie for other positions. That position changed on Thursday, and now MPs voted to allow presidential losers to be nominated back to Parliament by their political parties. There was also the contention about the qualifications to vie as a member of Parliament or to vie as a presidential candidate, running mate, and the MPs had moved to bring down the ceiling from degree qualification. MPs restored minimum qualification for presidential candidates, running mates, and candidates for Senate, governor, and their deputies, as well as MPs. And now they will have to be degree holders. They'll have to have a minimum of a bachelor's degree. And finally, on party nomination lists, the MPs had moved to amend that particular clause and reduced the duration for submitting the nomination lists from 6 months to 3 months before the general election. Of course, this list includes the list of nominees to special positions such as women representatives as well as representatives of the disabled. Back to you, Mike, Anne and Eric.
Thanks, Ansoy Mwendia. Now, the government has suspended the recruitment of domestic workers to the Middle East countries following complaints of brutal mistreatment of Kenyan workers, which has on occasion led to death.
All local agents that are involved in the recruitment have been ordered to cease operations immediately. Here is KTN's Malak Avila with more.
As a maid working in Saudi Arabia, Lahanda Purage suffered at the hands of a Saudi employer and his wife, who constantly physically abused her, at some point sticking at least 24 nails and needles into her body. Purage is just one of the thousands of Kenyans lured to the Middle East with promises of better paying jobs, only for the nightmare to begin once they land in those foreign countries. Statistics show that out of 2 million foreigners working in the Middle East, there are about 100 Kenyans doing manual work such as housekeeping and security jobs. Many work very long hours and receive little food, no time off, and pay that is a fraction of any minimum wage if it materializes at all. Many also face sexual harassment. This mistreatment is so widespread that the Philippines, Ethiopia and Nepal no longer let the citizens go to Lebanon to work as maids, though such bans have had little effect. And Kenya is no different. Following the public outcry over the mistreatment of its nationals, the Kenyan government has temporarily suspended recruitment and export of domestic workers or housekeepers to Middle East countries with immediate effect. Here's the catch. Most maids get their jobs through sponsorship systems, so their immigration status is tied to their employer. Now, these employers can repatriate them at will and prevent them from changing jobs, and in some countries like Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, stop them from leaving the country. In some cases, agents, most of them in Nairobi and Mombasa, are minting millions of shillings at the expense of gullible job seekers, majority of them women. The recruits are transformed into objects of trade, where they help agents mint millions of shillings while wallowing in misery and poverty. These agents get up to 500,000 for each Kenyan worker who boards a plane, for instance, Saudi Arabia. Victims allege that the agents have infiltrated the Kenyan Ministry of Immigration, where the clients' passports are processed with ease and speed. Once the workers arrive in Mid-East, they get employment contracts designed to favor the employer. By last year, an estimated 100,000 skilled and semi-skilled Kenyans were in the Mid-East, most of them who endured mistreatment, with many losing their lives there. Just last month, a Kenyan woman was killed in Dubai as she was reportedly assaulted at a car park by a group of young men as she waited to board a taxi. Among the Kenyans who have faced difficulties in the Arab states include Carol Wangui, who after just 3 weeks of torture in Saudi Arabia forced her deportation to Kenya last Monday. She is nursing serious back injuries and has stitches following abuse by her employer. Another victim, Mariam Zuberi, has complained of working under very harsh conditions and general mistreatment since flying to Saudi Arabia 8 months ago. Another case which appeared in a section of the local media is the case of a Gilgil family which says their daughter is being detained against her wish in Saudi Arabia, where she is being physically and sexually abused. Kenya will no doubt welcome the suspension, but it is obvious that the government can't stop those keen on traveling. Mala Kivila, KTN Prime.
An initiative by the Kenya Paraplegic Organization to raise funds for the construction of Kenya's first spinal injuries rehabilitation center has so far raised 43 million shillings in only 14 days.
Well, in the campaign dubbed Bring Zach Back Home, Zach, a paraplegic, hopes to raise 250 million shillings by riding to South Africa on his wheelchair. KTN's Joy Doreen Bira has more.
I've come to take you back.
Ida Odinga, wife to Prime Minister Raila Odinga, has added her voice to the Bring Zach Back Home campaign by asking the nation to donate every possible penny to the cause that seeks to construct a spinal cord rehabilitation and trauma center in Kenya to allow affordable access to treatment.
The distance I've walked from Isinya to Kajiado, it has been a grueling one, and I was walking. How about somebody who is sitting on a wheelchair with all the fumes from the vehicles, a lot of carbon monoxide from the vehicles?
Zach, injured by a gunshot 8 years ago and since confined to a wheelchair, is determined to raise 250 million Kenya shillings in 60 days for the first ever paraplegic or spinal cord rehabilitation center in Kenya. His 14 days on the road have been an experience worth a tell.
The fear one may have on the roads is the drivers who at times drive carelessly. You know, you might find that we are in a convoy and somebody is being advised to slow down, but this guy comes overtaking. And because there was a reason why I was being slowed down, you find him cutting just in front of me. I had such 3 agri incidences.
There are between 50,000 and 75,000 persons living with spinal injuries in Kenya, with over 15,000 new cases recorded annually. The nearest facility available on the continent for spinal injury treatment and rehabilitation is South Africa or up north in Egypt. Statistics by the Medical Services Ministry indicate that 65% of spinal injuries are attributed to road traffic accidents, falling from heights follow with 25%. Security-related incidences like gunshots, assault and stabbing at 7% among others.
Everybody of goodwill to bring in something. It is not too much and it's not a reserve of anybody, but it is for all of us Kenyans and our friends and anybody who is listening to me wherever in the world. I appeal to you to help us raise this money.
Seeing the elderly, the young, you have just seen us here at Kajiado. I mean, it's just moving. So that I must say, yes, it may be that demanding, but the results is what actually is making me have that energy, that extra push, which I'm ready to do.
You can send your donation by SMS by dialing *555# and follow the prompts. By M-Pesa under the account ZAC to pay bill number 522500. Or one can make donations online on the website www.bringzacbackhome.co.ke. It's the 14th day of the cause Bring Zach Back Home, and so far 46 million shillings has been raised. This leaves us with about 204 million shillings to be raised for the cause. Your donation makes a difference in this cause for Kenya to have the biggest paraplegic center in East and Central Africa. For KTN, I am Joy Doreen Bira.
Thanks, Joy. What a noble thing Zach is doing. Such a center will cater for so many people and do a whole world of good. We do urge you to please send your contributions in.
Indeed, the number is, remember, *555# on Safaricom, and you will get the prompts. You'll be prompted on what to do. Please donate. You can be Zach at any moment.
That's true, that's true. Time to remind you, the big question tonight, we're asking you, do you think the Kenya Wildlife Service is doing enough to contain human-wildlife conflict?
The number to SMS is 8040, and we will give you the poll results at the end of this live newscast. Please remember, as always, to give us your name and where you're watching from.
Well, you are watching KTN Prime and Just Ahead.
Macadamia nuts being smuggled through the port of Mombasa. Stay with us.
advisory. UAP. Better Simple Life.
Cities were growing by the day. But as the new buildings grew taller, the roads surrounding them just couldn't keep up. Then along came the Michelin Man, reminding us that the right tire changes everything. Stronger, more durable, the Michelin Energy XM2 tire is more resistant to pothole damage. Michelin, a better way forward.
For more information on pothole guarantee, call Kingsway Tire Expert Centers countrywide.
Digital migration is on. Catch the beautiful colors, the clarity, the wide choice of entertainment on your TV now. Digital TV, a beautiful new world of entertainment.
You are the future and the hope of Kenya. You can be anything you want to be. Keep in mind, success is not final and failure is never fatal. It is your courage to continue that counts. So start writing your future now. Write it down and stick to it.
Think big, write big.
Nyanya, patie. Asante. Siri yako ni nini? Hakuna siri.
But it's no longer a secret. Nzoia Sugar, sweetening Kenya since 1970. And now, introducing another one. Triple distilled Crescent Vodka, now available from the home of quality. Truly Kenyan.
The Kabarak University Half Marathon will be held on 30th June 2012 in Mogotio town. The race begins from 6 a.m. at the equator and finishes at the Kabarak University grounds. Registration is 300 shillings for the 21-kilometer half marathon, 1,000 shillings for the 5-kilometer corporate race, and 100 shillings for the children's race. You can register at all Transnational Bank branches, Mobile World offices, and CAS offices North Rift. Registration closes on 25th June. There are great cash prizes and heifers to be won. Proceeds from the marathon will help support Ngata Baby Care for abandoned children. Kabarak University, world-class education in biblical perspective.
Herbal Betasil medicated lozenges. Fast, effective, and soothing action for sore throats.
A sore throat can be so uncomfortable and just makes you miserable, making swallowing painful, talking a bother, and even singing stressful. When you have a sore throat, take it easy. Ensure you take plenty of fluids and remember, always, when symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Now introducing 2 new Betasil flavors, Betasil Menthol and Betasil Peppermint.
Your Big Brother Star Game contestant, Prezzo.
Do you like what you see on your screen? Me, King, woman, posy. PR easy was CMB. They said I fell off, they must be joking. Big Brother is all about entertainment. I was born to be an entertainer. Cause always cool, calm, collected, but misunderstood. I'm braggadocious, I'm self-confident. I make a lot of people laugh, so I guess I have a good sense of humor. Ladies love me, girls adore me. I mean, even the ones who never saw me. I know you love my style. This whole experience is gonna give people like a chance to see the other side of Brazil. So, you know, I'll let people be the judge of that. I can't stand fake people. I have no strategy. I'm just gonna be myself. I'm a real person. Life is like a mirror. You look into a mirror, you smile, you get a smile back.
Big Brother Africa, refreshed by Coca-Cola.
Welcome back. You are still watching KTN Prime.
The Speaker of the National Assembly, Kenneth Marende, is tonight goading members of Parliament to consider running for elective posts as county assemblies, as opposed to concentrating their energies and attention on parliamentary and senatorial positions. Marende is also urging lawmakers to ensure that laws for devolved government are in place before November this year.
The Kenya National Assembly, with the support of UK Aid, organized this workshop for lawmakers to brainstorm on the challenges, needs and opportunities of devolved governments. Other institutions adding input to the discussion were the New York Center for International Development, the Kenya Institute of Administration, and University of Nairobi's Institute of Development Studies. Speaker Kenneth Marende expressed optimism that, if properly practiced, devolution will encourage interdependence between regions and better cohesion among Kenyans. Marende also noted devolved governments will speed up development, bring services closer to the people, and check on the rural-urban migration. To realize these, Marende says county assemblies required a focused leadership that will deliver to locals what the centralized system of government had failed to do.
It is therefore desirable that some of the political leadership in the counties is driven by those of us who have been in governance and public service. We must encourage each other to be the ones scrambling to represent our people in the counties as opposed to concentrated attention at the national government.
The Speaker welcomed the proposal by the Law Society of Kenya to work with other independent commissions to vet all political aspirants, saying it will go a long way in ensuring that Kenya has the right caliber of leaders.
This is the time when we most need nationalist leaders, called to rise above nepotism, wanton selfishness that breeds corruption and underdevelopment.
I appeal to the executive arm of government to take the issue of devolution seriously. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, is the issue of allocating enough resources to enable the county governments to take off.
It was also noted that leaders at county assemblies should have adequate education and wide knowledge in issues of governance and constitutionalism.
The first leadership must lay a lasting foundation, something that can be remembered 50 years, 100 years to come, and that means they have to sacrifice a lot. Unfortunately, some of the people we are sending back to the counties are driven by the desire to make money.
That calls for wise choosing of leaders at both the county and national government in order to avoid a costly false start. Patrick Amimo, KTN.
Police in Mombasa have impounded more than 17 tons of raw macadamia nuts destined for the export market. The unprocessed nuts were being transported to Asian markets despite a ban on the export of the raw macadamia. KTN's Esther Kahumbi reports from Mombasa.
The 17 containers of raw macadamia nuts were intercepted just before loading for export to China and Vietnam. The Kenya Revenue Authority reporting that the goods had been misdeclared as Arabica coffee. The macadamia nuts estimated to be worth 17 million shillings. This coming just 3 weeks after KTN reported on yet another interception of unprocessed macadamia nuts worth 20 million shillings.
What is interesting is that some of these containers were supposed to have been loaded by now, and no clearing agent has come up to say that to complain about their consignment not having So what we are suspecting is they know that what they are doing is not right. Otherwise, the clearing agents would have been here.
Congo Development Company and Highlock Investment of Hong Kong and Vietnam respectively had been noted down as a consignees. The exporter going by the name Abdi Shakur Abubakar.
We are scanning all goods for export. There's 100% verification for all goods that are destined for export. So unless they are using some other undocumented routes, but otherwise, if I can assure you that no raw nuts would escape the eye of KRA if those raw nuts are being exported through the port.
The 2009 Act of Parliament banned all exports of unprocessed nuts, which was in effort to enhance value addition and enhance the export potential of Kenya nut processors. KRA indicating that the intercepted nuts will be surrendered to the state. While the ban has previously been challenged in court, stakeholders welcome the move to implement it. Farmers in the coast region are already suffering the consequences of such exports, where the only processing company set up collapsed in 1998 due to lack of raw material. While KRA admits that this is not the first of such interceptions it has made, very few people, if any, have been taken to court concerning this illegal business. Esther Kahumbi, KTN, Mombasa.
Compensation for loss of wildlife is not there in the Act, and it is not there. It is not done. It was banned by Parliament in 1977, if I'm not wrong. 1987. It is not there. So the question of being compensated is not there. However, the new wildlife bill has that element, has that component in. But then we cannot implement the bill until it becomes law.
To come out of hiding, and 1 second to attack you.
Mosquito bites cause malaria.
1 second to infect you.
Not anymore. Now I won't give any of you even 1 second.
New Mortin Doom Power Guard.
Mortin Doom!
Mortin Doom Power Guard with new scientifically proven powerful formula not only kills faster but also longer by killing mosquitoes that surface later, and it keeps killing for up to 1 week.
Even 1 second counts when it's my family's protection.
Come on, they're asleep.
New Mortin Doom Power Guard. Nothing kills faster and keeps killing for longer.
Old Mutual has helped people invest to secure their future. With this experience comes much wisdom. The wisdom to enable you to do great things.
Habari Afrika! Leo tutatumia nguo hii kuweka Ario katika jaribio gumu zaidi. Tutatumia kovu sugu zaidi, dua la mchuzi. Dua hili upenye zaidi ndani ya nguo na kuliondoa kwa mosho moja huonekana haiwezekani. Tutapasua nguo hii katika vipande viwili. Tutaosha kipande kimoja kwa sabuni ya unga ya kawaida na kingine kwa sabuni mpya ya Ariel iliyo na micro cleaning boosters. Ariel mpya hupenya ndani zaidi na kuondoa madoa sugu kwa mosho mmoja. Je, Ariel imeondoa kwa mwosho mmoja? Na sabuni ya unga ya kawaida? Hivyo sabuni ya unga ya kawaida mara ya pili. Na baada ya mwosho wa pili? Kwa hiyo, nani ameshinda jaribio la mwosho mmoja? Ariel mpya, matokeo bora kwa mwosho mmoja.
Both dem na chali, cause tuseme dem amepata pregnant kwa mdogo, labda kuna zile goals alikuwa ameset, but yo pregnant imemwaffect.
It's gonna affect both the chick and the guy. For the guy, because of the bill that was passed, he can't run away from his responsibilities. He'll have to take care of the kid, and that's going to be hard for him.
Unplanned pregnancy will affect both of them because, let's say for example, the chick is maybe in high school or college, so she'll have to drop out to take care of the kids, and also maybe the boy won't be ready.
Well, it's time for the business. Joining us now is Zawadi Mudibo. Good evening to you. And the Koreans are here and very apologetic about our primitive energy.
Yeah, indeed, they did indicate, actually withdrew the comment and apologized to Kenyans. So I believe most of us have forgiven them and ready to do business with them because it's time to do business. And now moving on to KTN Business Today, we look at something from Morocco where the delay of the delivery of Kenya Airways Boeing Dreamliner fleet could be hurting the local tourism scene. A delegation from Morocco says lack of the aircrafts has slowed down direct flights between Kenya and Morocco, which could give the tourism industry a huge boost by connecting Kenya to the North African countries. Now KTN's Michael Karanja has those details.
The delayed arrival of the Dreamliner has been a huge concern for Kenya Airways, and the tourism sector is one of those being impacted by the delay. The Moroccan officials, however, say plans are underway to also have its country's national carrier, Royal Air Maroc, to set a regional hub at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to further boost trade and tourism.
Royal Air Maroc confirmed that after their visibility study, Nairobi showed a high visible destination. And it's important for Royal Air Maroc to consider Nairobi as a hub, East African hub. So that will enable Royal Air Maroc to take people to different parts of East Africa and the islands.
Morocco has extensive experience on development of tourist resort cities, and it is this expertise the government is keen on tapping, being part of an MOU signed between the two governments in November 2009. The MOU, among other areas of interest, we look at the opportunities for exchange of the experience and know-how in the field of planning and financing tourism, in developing and maintaining tourism infrastructure, and especially tourist resort cities.
For any investor who's coming in, most of them want to invest in Nairobi, Mombasa, or Masai Mara. We truly can grow other areas of tourism that are underdeveloped and they have huge potential.
Specific areas where Kenya seeks to borrow heavily from Morocco include product diversification, domestic tourism with low-cost accommodation model, golf tourism, and community linkages to tourism, especially through small and medium enterprises. Michael Karanja, KTN Business Today.
Now moving on, the inaugural Korean Air direct flight from Seoul in South Korea touched down at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport this morning. Tourism Minister Dan Mwazo led the team that received the plane carrying 362 passengers, including Chang Hong-shi, the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Korean Air. Now, Kenya's ambassador to Korea, Ngovi Kitau, Minister Mwazo said the introduction of the direct flights between the North Asian country and Kenya is a welcome development for tourism. Now, trade and intergovernmental relations between the two countries. The minister added that this will be complemented by the fact that Korean Air and Kenya Airways have a code-share agreement through the Star Alliance. Now, the airline has earlier in the week been taken to task over its promotional material that indicated that Kenyan indigenous people of Kenya were full of primitive energy. They did withdraw that offending remark and apologize to Kenyans.
President of Korea Air, Mr. Chino, and his other officials, and on board there were 336 passengers. Most of them are Koreans, businessmen, tourists.
Now, scrap metal dealers in Nakuru County have lauded government's decision to issue stiffer penalties to unscrupulous dealers in the country. Now, at a meeting in Nakuru, the dealers, however, took issue with a decision by the Municipal Council of Nakuru not to renew their business licenses.
Along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway, what remains of streetlights are cut-offs.
Unakuta mifereji ambayo inaleta maji inangolewa, inaenda kuuzwa. Road sign zinaenda kuuzwa. Kopa hii ambayo inatengeneza mambo ya simu na stima pia inaenda kuuzwa. Na kwa hivyo imekuwa ni jambo ambalo kama serikali tungetaka kuangalia vile tunaweza kuhakikisha kwamba the sale of scrap metal trade is banned.
Clearly demonstrating the length some scrap metal dealer will go to achieve their business sense. But now, dealers in the town are pushing the blame to customers who buy from such vandals.
Government, they know them. Even I believe the council, they know them. But I believe that they've not taken good action. They've not shown an improvement of that. They've not arrested somebody and take him to court and charge him, so that at least action can be seen. At least they can be seen they are doing something, because they are unscrupulous scrap metal dealers who are buying scrap indoors. They are not open like what we are doing.
It is out of this realization that a meeting was recently held in the town by scrap metal dealers from the county of Nakuru. The dealers resolved to support government decision to put stiffer penalties on unscrupulous dealers. However, they took issue with the municipal council for indicating that their licenses will not be renewed.
Sisi kama watu ya Nakuru tumekataa katakata kwamba hatutawacha kazi ya scrap metal, kwa vile sisi ile kazi tunafanya ni kazi straightforward.
Cannot just wake up in the morning and say they are scrapping out our licenses without even having a dialogue.
Na kama polisi wanashuku tunaiba, tumewakaribisha wawe wakikuja kufanya inspection kwa skrebu zetu na waone hakuna kitu tunanunua kibaya.
The problem, the dealer said, was more in the hand of the government and the council for not containing idle youth who steal metal for sale to dealers.
We informed them that they should try and arrest some of these people who are buying scrap metals, even to the young boys, to people who are under 18, who don't have IDs. We are trying to raise such issues with the government.
A meeting is scheduled to take place next week to deliberate on the matter conclusively on renewal or revoking of licenses among scrap metal dealers in Nakuru town. Zipora Karani reporting for KTN from the county of Nakuru.
And now in our corporate briefs, Uchumi Supermarkets is back and promising to have a lot more profits this time around. Take a look.
Uchumi Supermarkets expect sales to rise by a third to 16 billion shillings, an equivalent of $191 million in its 2011-2012 year ending this month. Uchumi's chief executive Jonathan Siano says the firm expects sales to increase by another 4 billion shillings in the coming financial year, driven by maturity of the greenfield branches it has opened. Siano, who is credited for reviving the company after it was shut down for a month in May 2006, due to insolvency, says the supermarket's chain is benefiting from new outlets opened recently. And KCB Group has entered a 5 million shillings partnership agreement with Acumen Fund in support of entrepreneurs drawn from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda and South Sudan. The Acumen Fund East Africa Fellows Program selects young professionals each year to work with the organization in East African region, South Africa, India and Pakistan. And finally, the East African Breweries Limited Thursday evening rebranded its website and corporate logo. The new logo and website are expected to add elegance to the original beer manufacturer in the market that continues to witness new entrants and increased competition.
And we never like to end our broadcast of KTN Business Today without a look at the financial markets. And that is all the news we had today on KTN Business Today. This is your home on business. My name is Zawadi Mudibo. Do have yourself a terrific weekend ahead. The National Assembly is charged with a legislative mandate, but more often than not, MPs subvert for entrenched self-preservation. MPs have sharpened the art of hoodwinking the public in the law review process. This week, KTN's News Shot reveals another angle of what some Korean translator would describe as Parliament's primitive energy.
This is not a market where you say, no.
There was a contentious matter in the House, so contentious that it rattled many, and they were not sitting pretty.
A Kenyan child shall have free and compulsory basic education. Mr. Chairman, basic education is up to Form 4.
The people with degrees in Kenya, Mr. Chairman, are less than 200,000 people. Now you want to limit? Yes, they are.
To join a school called the Early Childhood Development School, you must have a C-. To become a sub-chief, you must have a C-. Mr. Chairman, that we have asked a governor and deputy governor to have degree as a mandatory requirement. How then would you then allow them to go and superintend over a county that has got people who have got academic challenge? The amendment I'm proposing is now to put the Member of Parliament also to require a degree.
Yes, MPs must now have a degree certificate, but this educational matter is frustrating the August House, and some do not want anything to do with it.
It is the majority of Kenya who have a right to elect their representatives, Mr. Chairman. When you limit them to only an elite in this country, Mr. Chairman, what you are creating is not a democracy, it's a dictatorship.
In the past, when we were supporting this, we had on mind counties like Turkana. But Turkana now is going to be a county that will be driven by oil. How do you expect people to drive an oil economy in a county when they are not literate, Mr. Speaker?
We have to accept it. If you don't have the qualifications, you will miss 5 years and you will come back after you are competent.
But throw in a third dimension and mention their paybacks, and it was a quick retreat.
Part of the determination of the salary of members of parliament will be determined by the entry level of their qualification. So if the entry level is O level, then the salary would have to be pegged on that, because salaries are based on your academic qualification plus your expected work.
I think we must legislate for the future, and I think we must surely support Kemunya's amendment. I support, Mr. Chairman.
It is all about their bellies. Once filled up, everything else is secondary.
So it's important that we have some higher qualifications so that when they are doing the salaries review, they don't consider members of parliament. Members of parliament do not lose out because they have no degree.
These honorable members are truly not subservient to the public. The spirit of self-preservation runs deep in the blood, carefully choreographing electoral laws to shield themselves from condemnation into political irrelevance. After all, leadership is sweet, but when caught in the act, pass the blame to the master.
At times we think the House Business Committee unreasonably loads business on this House that sometimes cannot be sustained until members are drained, and then we are blamed outside there, Mr. Speaker, because of passing maybe defective laws and things that are not up to date.
Smart one. In the spirit of amendments, magic words like democracy and rule of law thrive, but in essence, politicians have perfected political gimmicks on the public.
Mr. Chairman, we also cushion ourselves on the party hopping.
That person needs to be nominated by voters. And those voters had joined parties. It is in the spirit of the new constitution that people must be free so that democracy can be enhanced, Mr. Speaker.
This confusion is too much. Maybe that's why, after all, degrees have been made a requirement for these honorable MPs.
If you have to do it,
by basically educating yourselves on it first and foremost, instead of having the eyes and the nose, which are just basically happen sometimes. Somebody doesn't even understand what's happening. He just says aye or no.
I just want a clarification so that we are sure. What about honorary degrees? Are they included?
Order. Order. Honorable Gidai, an honorary degree is not an academic qualification.
The last days of the coalition government epitomizing a marriage of convenience founded on total confusion. Nothing is agreeable. Let's try the leader of opposition.
I want to agree with the official leader of opposition that we must put the country first.
Did you hear my good friend the Honorable Jacob Midio referring to the Honorable Mother Karua as the leader of official opposition?
Yes. I am that de facto leader of the opposition.
They are the de facto leaders of the opposition. Is it in order for the Honorable Boni Khalwale and the Honorable Martha Karua, both members of the Party of National Unity, officially to declare that they are the de facto leaders of the opposition?
I am not a member of any party called PUNU. I am, which he claims, I am the leader of NAC Kenya.
So who is the official leader of opposition?
In view of these exchanges here, because as the chairman of the small parties, am I not the one entitled to be the leader of the opposition?
When Honorable Amina Abdallah declared that I'm the one who speaks the most and therefore the de facto leader of the opposition in this house.
And Familia Odhiambo, who is in ODM, to declare because she's the noisiest, she is the official leader. Madam, Mr. Speaker, you have to rule.
One could say Parliament is exhibiting primitive energy. Just ask the Koreans. Samogina, KTN News Shot.
enough with these gems, but gems are getting tougher. You need advanced protection. Lifebuoy Advanced Lifebuoy gives protection against 10 infection-causing germs. 10 infection-causing germs. 1 advanced protection. Lifebuoy.
Drostenhof Sauvignon Blanc is a white wine best known for its grassy herbal flavors. Sauvignon Blanc is also called Fume Blanc and is a popular choice for fish, shellfish dishes and poultry dishes. Drostenhof. Every year is a good year.
Welcome to the sport. Already assured of a place in the finals of the Olympics 10,000 meters, double world champion Vivian Cheruiyot will make history tomorrow when she attempts to secure an Olympic double in the 5,000 meters on the final day of the Olympics trials at the Nyayo National Stadium. She spoke exclusively to KTN about her prospects for tomorrow.
Looking absolutely relaxed at our final warm-up practice session at the Moi Sports Center Kasarani, nothing gives away an indication that the petite female runner is just minutes away from making historical individual achievement for a Kenyan woman runner. Just a week after securing a ticket to the London Olympic Games with a win in 5,000 meters, Vivian Chepkemoi Cheruiyot takes the field on Saturday as the most celebrated Kenyan athlete among the field. not for what she has achieved so far, but for what she will be aiming for. An Olympic ticket in both 5,000 meters and 10,000, in addition to her 2 world titles over the same distance.
It was a little bit easy, and it was like a kind of, it is not like 5,000, 5,000 is a little bit speed. So I've already recovered, and my body is responding well. It's only to run my best tomorrow.
She, however, remains cautiously strategic of her anticipated historical moment, taking into account a competitive field comprising her fastest rival from Kenya, Linet Chepkurui Masai.
I know that I'm going to make it because 5,000 is normally my event. 10,000, I started that one last year, and now I'm getting used. So, but 5,000 is something I've been running since 2006. So I think it cannot. It will be competitive, but I hope I will make it top 3.
The 5,000 meters women final will be the first event of the morning at 10:30, and should Vivian emerge the winner, then Kenya will have witnessed another historical achievement for an athlete who, in addition to her 2 world titles, will be seeking to be the first woman athlete to have this pedigree going into the Olympic Games. Sadiq Shaban, KTN Sports.
A total of 8 athletes are lined up for tomorrow during the National Athletics Trials at the Nyayo National Stadium. As our reporter Victor Ogali observes, tomorrow might see disappointment as the 30,000-seater stadium will witness some of the athletes dropping out.
After the first day of the Olympics trials on Thursday, the finals on Saturday will decide who boards the plane to London and who waits for 4 more years to get a shot at the global sports extravaganza. A total of 8 disciplines finals will take place.
There is no easy race, and you don't want any athlete or prepare any athlete to think that this is just an easy run. We just get it over with and wait for the final. No. Many athletes, particularly in major championships, when it comes to things like semi-finals, they think, oh, this is just another race, and thereby that becomes their downfall.
The races slated for Saturday for both men and women will be 5,000 meters, where a tough battle is expected between double world champion Vivian Cheruiyot and Sally Kipyego, who have already qualified for the 10,000 meter slot. 800 meters men race will be no exception, with world record holder David Lekuta Rudisha battling Timothy Kiptum, Nicholas Kiplagat and seasoned Alfred Kiruiyego as his closest challenges after Boaz Lelang failed to qualify. Rudisha will no doubt be a crowd favorite as exhibited during Thursday's semi-finals.
As a country, we are because we have really good young, working hard guys who are always there to make our flag fly high.
The 5,000 meters men's race will be a must watch, as it will feature many of those that failed to qualify for the 10,000 meters in Oregon 3 weeks ago. With the biggest field of entry, it will be a hard task even for seasoned athletes like Edwin Soi, Eliud Kipchoge and William Malel. The 800 meters women's race will see defending champion Pamela Jelimo face to face with Janet Jepkosgei. 1,500 meters, Olympic champion Asbel Kiprop, who easily won his heat on Thursday, will also be seeking to outwit 11 other runners, among them Silas Kiplagat and Caleb Mwangangi Ndiku, who is graduating to the senior ranks. Victor Ogale, KTN Sports.
Now tomorrow we'll bring you a special edition of KTN Sports Final Show on the London Olympics Games, live on location from the Nyayo National Stadium from 10:30 in the morning, as the team brings you the very latest from the trials as well as from the Olympic champions. Be sure to be tuned into KTN from that time in the morning. Now the second leg of the Kenya Premier League resumes tomorrow with Sofapaka, who are perched at the summit of the log, the team to beat. Gor Mahia makes a return to live broadcast on Supersport with a match against Western Stima.
After over a 1-month break, the Kenya Premier League second leg resumes this weekend with Western Stima hosting Gor Mahia at Mumias Complex. Kogalo are patched 9th on the log, the Stima 6th after a 15 round of matches, and coach Jobo, meanwhile conceding that the Green Army will be hard to silence, is looking to outsmart the Nairobi-based side. Karitori Sports head coach Michael Nam was forced to rejig his charges, getting rid of 5 players and admitting a similar number as he looks to finish in the top 5 positions. A tall order, but he believes is achievable.
It's a little bit to bring some confidence and to bring a sense of belief, to make the players believe in themselves that they can also be top contenders, of which I believe they can finish among the top 5.
Thika United plays City Stars, who seem to have found their winning ways, but their asset last season, Dancer and Kumas, parted ways with the Kangarebe side, making the scoring mathematics for City Stars a difficult one. Sofapaka will at the Log Summit have an interesting mouth-watering match against third-placed AFC Leopards, in what could be more than the 3 points by the bragging rights of the league as well. Moroni Youth will be up against Ulinzi Stars at their base, while Brewers Stars have an engagement with Doserian at the Moi Sports Center, Kasarani. Whichever way it goes, the second leg of the Kenya Premier League promises to be exciting and more competitive. After all,